everything like that, I've had to actually learn a lot of stuff on my own. I learned how to be an animator. I learned how to be a developer, in addition to the fact that I am a graphic artist and musician. And so I just basically put a lot of the things that um, I had to do a lot of this on my own because I really didn't have a lot of people to help me out with this. And so the way this was born, I put it all on paper first and designed it, planned it out, and then I went ahead and acquired the skills and also used the skills that I already had to to get this going and get it made. And it's taken a long time because of all of that, learning curves, and then also dealing with some developers that, yeah, it's just a homepage. But you can reply on that homepage, though. You can actually send me a DM through there. You can message me through there as well. And I'll see if I can find another one of my other Twitter channels as well that is a little more active. This is the one that I actually use for music and stuff like that. But you should be able to find me on that. I mean, you should be able to reply to me on this, the one that I gave you, though. Are you having issues with that? If you are, I'll just send out another one, and I'll put it in Discord too. So as we yeah, as I'm on your server and everything in Discord, I'll get you that information. But if we can talk through Discord as well. So I'm wondering if we have. So I guess I'll just go ahead and get started here, and I think we're 18, almost 20 minutes in, and I'll have to edit a lot of this out. But this is the football history live stream, and today we're going to talk about the simulator, how it works, and then we're going to talk about the football video game that's going to be coming later in the year. And we have some other products that we have for coaches as well. I've developed a injury tracker for the coaches. I've developed a software piece of software for um, doing league scheduling and also doing some not only just league scheduling but tournaments scheduling as well. So we've got a lot of good things that we're going to be doing this year outside of just the football video game. And the simulator, just so you guys know, the simulator is a football simulator that coaches will be able to use. Actually, anybody will be able to use this to design plays. I've had some people say that they'd like to use it for Madden, and because they play Madden a lot and they'd like to learn a little bit more about how football works and how plays are created and everything. And this will give you that kind of knowledge. It's an educational tool that kind of it looks like a video game, and a lot of it is built off that. The video game will be built off that. And what we wanted to do was, originally my whole idea was, if I built a simulation of football and how the mechanics of it works, then that would be a little bit easier for me to make a video game. And so that's why that's how this whole thing was born. Was based on just creating the simulator first, getting all the mechanics of that down, and then creating a video game after that. And what we're doing with that simulator is, you can execute handoffs, you can execute man in motion plays, and you could really kind of diagram your own type of play, even some plays that may not even make sense to some people, but you can diagram all these types of plays, and you can run them against our defenses that are in there, which is their read and react. So we won't right now. We don't have the capability to run routes for the defense. we're actually working on something like that. We're actually, we had it in play, but it was kind of acting a little crazy, so we took it out. So the defense is strictly AI. You position the players where you need to. We're going to create. We have these what's called zone boxes where you can put these zone boxes on the field where the players can stay in for a couple seconds, and they'll, you can create zone defenses with that. So right now the it's going to be a read and react AI on the defense, but then when you get to the offense, you have a little more control where you're designing routes and route trees and things like that. So we're going to carry this over into the video game as well. We're going to carry all this functionality over to the video game. So what you're going to have is a video game that you can actually create plays on. And instead of, I think Madden had this some years ago, but this is going to take it to another level. So you can actually create a play that, you know, you're not really limited, you know, as to what you can create with your play. And you'll have formations that we're going to have prefab formations in there, but you can create your own formations. So it gives you a whole lot of flexibility to be able to create plays. And then by being able to do that, the game doesn't get stale, or the simulator doesn't get stale, because the defense is always going to be reacting to whatever you create. And it may not be, and we have the AI where, as I mentioned in some of my videos, it doesn't play the same all the time. And what I'm really excited about that for is because the AI is, by it not playing the same all the time, you have um, different things that are going to happen, even if you run the same play over and over and over again against the same defense. Most of the time, though, when you're going to run these offenses and against the defenses, um, you're going to run, the defenses are going to be a little different. You know, unless you absolutely pick the same offense or same defense against that offense. But even if you do that, you're still going to get variation in the way it plays. It's not going to always play the same way. It may play the same way a few times, but it will vary because the AI will say, all right, he called that play 5 times, and it's going to learn what you're doing. And then it goes ahead and says, all right, he called that play 5 times. I'm going to play it differently this time. So you don't get these little variations where that same play already works all the time. And the good thing with a strategy game as opposed to a joystick game, and I have nothing against the joystick games because I play those, but I like the strategy based game because you have to really think about what you're doing when you're playing a strategy football game. It's not all based on I run left or right or whatever, and to get the AI to run that way, then I slip back the other way, and then I score a touchdown. And I've seen some videos out there where people are, you know, they you know, you get enjoyment out of playing the game the way you want to play. If that's what turns you on, then you know you're going to be successful at that. But and that's fine. But if you play the game, even Madden, if you play it the way it's supposed to be played, like if you play it with real life, and some people don't like to punt. I was playing my grandson, and we were playing Madden, and he doesn't like to punt. He just likes to, and so I beat him like 95-35 because he doesn't like to punt. And once I figured out what he was doing from an offensive standpoint, I laid my defenses back in zones and everything like that, and let the AI kind of you know, work against him. And then also I would put decoys, like I would take control of a guy and decoy him and everything like that. And so he'd think that I'm going to be in one place and I'm in another. So what I like about strategy, and the reason why I wanted to make a strategy football game, because I'd seen the Stratomatic games out there and all the other games out there that are being played. And I wanted to have something that was, you know, like that, but it had a better visual. I mean, I see people playing those games and they're like clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking. Oh, he gained 2 yards, you know, and then that's the end of it. And I, you know, used to play a lot of these games, board games. Actually, I came from the board game community. And I still play board games every now and then, but I wanted something like the board game feel, but I wanted to have the 3D element to it. I wanted to have the visual, because I'm a visual person, being in graphic design and everything. I am a visual person, and I wanted to see the visual of all of that play out instead of just know that the guy gained 2 yards and you see some text up on the screen or something like that, and it says, "All right, number 35 Johnson gained 3 yards." And I mean that's fine, but I wanted to actually get the feel and see what was going on, which is why this game came into creation. So it's going to be a little different than, let's say, a Madden game or anything like that. But I also wanted to have those graphics because I wanted to have something like, for instance, we have the baseball field configurations. And one thing we're going to do is with the video game, what we want to do is, and I've already created this, but I don't know if we're going to implement it in time. So we've got a timeline on that. But I've created where you can create your own stadiums. So I have assets and everything that are set there in our library that we can actually put a stadium together. So we're going to want to give the user the ability to actually create their own stadium with the grandstands and everything around it and so on, and the baseball configuration type fields and everything. I think you guys have seen one of our baseball configuration fields, but that's the kind of functionality that we want to give to our users. And to get we want the experience. I want you guys to actually have an experience playing the game where it's not all about, you're using 1,000 animations and everything. We want things to be fun. And even if it's a statistical based game, I want it to be fun. I don't want it to just be, based on stats, because when you think about it, statistics are only a small part of the game. I mean, games are not really played on paper. So what about players performing in the clutch that, normally they may, I mean, everybody gets hung up on these ratings, like a guy's a 99 and, he's a 55 or whatever. He doesn't mean any good. But actually, the fact is, those ratings don't really matter. They really don't matter. And okay, Mike says he'll be right back. Okay, but the ratings don't really matter as much as the actual experience in playing the game. And when you have a strategy-based game, you have to think about the plays that you're going to call and how you're going to use your players and everything, not just that this guy is rated a 90 and he's always going to perform that way. I really always cringe when people talk about, um, this guy is rated a 90 and he should perform like this. Those ratings don't mean anything really, because you don't play the game based on ratings. You play the game, based on situations. Situations and coaching is what wins football games. The players do that matter as well, and their skills do matter. But at the end of the day, you could have a ton of players with a ton of skills. You could have an all-star team and lose to a team with lesser talent because you don't know how to coach. And that's what this game is going to be about. And it kind of parlays off of what the simulator is, because the simulator is for coaches, and it's for coaches to be able to, you know, um, call plays. We have some tools in there that we're going to have for the coaches and everything like that. Hey, Willie, how you doing? Uh, how you doing there, Willie? Glad you could make it. Yeah, glad you could make it, man. We're just hanging out. Just so far, you know, I've been talking a little bit about the game. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, and it's been a lot of work that I've had into this. I've dedicated a lot of time, money, and resources into this project, and I'm glad to see that it's coming to fruition. And so I want to let you guys know about the release date. So the release date is going to be for the simulator is going to be in June. on the 19th of June, and then the game is going to follow in the fall of 2020.